Hi everybody, good morning and welcome to Storytime. Not live today. I've got a bit of an issue with my internet and a lot of messing about. Unfortunately, it isn't fixed yet, so just a recorded story today, but a good one. Once upon a time, there was a young soldier and he was heading home after a long time away from his family. But he knew it was going to take him a long time to get home. It was going to take him a couple of weeks of travelling. He only had a little bit of money and he wasn't going to be paid until he got home. And so, a few days into his journey, he realised that he no longer had any coins left. And unless he got some food soon, there was no way he was going to make it home. Towards the end of the afternoon, as he travelled along a country lane, he came into a large village. And there were still lots of folk milling around. Some of the shops were still open. And he approached some of the people to beg them for food. "Excuse me," he would say, "do you have any food to spare?" One man said, "Nope, I'm afraid I have nothing to give you." He asked an old woman, "Have you got any food to spare, please?" And she said, "Oh, I'm very poor. I've got very little to give, I'm afraid." He tried another villager. "Excuse me, do you have anything you could give, any food at all?" And the villager said, "I'm sorry, my cupboards are bare. This is a poor village. We don't have anything to spare." And so, feeling rather sad and very hungry now, the soldier sat down in the green in the middle of the village and thought about what he could do. And then an idea came to him. He went and collected some wood, and he made right there in the middle of the village where everybody could see a little fire. He then took from his rucksack a great cooking pot, and he went to the village well, filled it with water, and took it back to the fire. And then he picked up from the ground a single stone. He took the stone and he put it inside the cooking pot with the water. And he made a great show of doing this. He made sure that everybody could see. And it didn't take long before his plan worked. First, one villager came over. "What are you doing there?" he asked. "Oh," said the soldier, "I'm making soup. And I tell you what, it's going to be the best soup that anyone's ever tasted. It's going to be the best soup in the world, the most delicious, amazing soup anyone has ever had." "Oh, really?" said the villager. "Yes," said the soldier, "and I tell you what, it's going to be so nice that I'm going to share it with everybody here." "Oh, are you now?" said the villager. "Well, have you got any salt in it? You must have salt in soup. You need salt in soup." "No," said the traveller, I haven't. If you've got some to spare, I could put it in." "Ah, yes, I've got salt," said the villager, and he ran off across the green towards his house. A couple of minutes later, he came back bearing some salt, and they put it into the pot. "Ah, there we go." Another villager came over, a young woman. "What are you doing over here?" she asked. And the soldier told her, "I'm making soup." "Ah," said the other villager, "yes, but not just soup. He told me he's going to make the best soup ever, and he's going to share it with everybody." "Oh," said the young woman. "Well, have you got herbs in it? You need herbs in soup, don't you?" She looked at the other man. "Yes, oh, you need herbs and salt. Have you got any herbs to put in it?" And the soldier looked at her and said, "No, I don't have any herbs. Have you got any to spare?" And the young woman said, "Oh, yes, I've got herbs. I'll go and get some." And she ran back to her house, and a few moments later, there she was with handfuls of herbs, and she threw them into the pot. The water was now just starting to come to a boil, and you can hear it bubbling on the top. Another villager came over. "What's to do here?" The other villagers told him, "Well, the soldier here is going to make some soup, and apparently it's going to be the best soup in the world, the most delicious, tastiest soup that anybody's ever had. And listen to this, he's going to share it with everyone." "Oh, great, that sounds wonderful. Have you put potatoes in it? You must have potatoes in your soup. You can't have a soup without potatoes." "Oh, no," the other two agreed. "You must have potatoes in it. Have you got potatoes in it?" "No," said the soldier, I didn't have any potatoes. Maybe you've got some you could give me?" "Oh, yes, I've got plenty of potatoes," said the villager, and off he ran down to the other end of the street. He came back a little while later with a big sack of potatoes, and a few moments later they were peeled and chopped and put into the pot. So it bubbled away quite nicely now with the potatoes and the salt and the herbs. More and more villagers came to see what was going on. What a spectacle! "Has he got carrots in it?" another villager shouted. "He must have carrots. You can't have a soup without carrots in it." No, I haven't got any carrots," shouted the soldier, "but if you got any, I'll put them in." And so it went on. More and more villagers came. More and more villagers shouted out things that could go in the soup. Tomatoes were put in, onions were put in, more herbs were put in, more spices. In the end, they ended up with a pot right to the top, full, almost. Somebody shouted finally, "What meat has he got in it?" "Oh," said the soldier, "I don't have any meat in it, but if you've got any to spare—" "Oh, I've got a fine piece of beef. We'll chop that up, we'll put that in as well. It'll make it delicious." So the meat went in as well. And in the end, the soup was cooked. It took about an hour. And of course, there was enough for everybody. Everybody brought a bowl and a spoon. It was shared out. And they all agreed that it really was the most wonderful soup any of them had tasted. One of the villagers asked the soldier, "Hey, that was so nice. You must tell us. There must have been a special ingredient. Something must have made it extra special. What did you put in?" "Ha," said the soldier, "that's my secret." "Oh, go on, you must tell us." "Oh, very well," said the soldier. "I'll tell you what it was. Come a bit closer." And he put his hand into the pot and he took out the great stone. "This," he said. "Ah," said the others. "The stone, that gave it the flavour." Said the soldier. "That gave it the flavour." "Wow," said the others. "What would you take?" "I'll give you £5 for it," said one of the villagers. "Oh, no, I'll give you 6, said another. No, 7, said a lady. 8, came a voice from the back. 9, 10. And so the auction began, as the villagers started to bid against each other, all wanting to buy the stone, none of them realising that the soldier had just picked it up from the ground only about an hour and a half earlier. In the end, they settled on the sum of £50. And the stone was taken by one of the villagers, feeling very pleased with himself, and he walked off home. As for the rest, well, the soldier bid them farewell, packed up his things, and carried on, looking for some trees where he could get a bit of shelter, make camp for the night. And that night he slept very soundly, now that his stomach and his purse were full. The next morning, the soldier got up early and he carried on his way on his journey home. He travelled for many miles down the country lanes until he came to another village. And when he got to that village, he took off his backpack, took out his pot, made a fire, filled the pot with water, looked for a stone, and well, you know what happened next. There you go, boys and girls, the story of the stone soup. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did enjoy it, take it and share it with somebody else. Now, we haven't had a story about a witch for a while, so tomorrow we're going to have a witch story. And hope you enjoy the story, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.